up, everybody? Welcome back. Bienvenidos a todos to ChingonSA-Podcast. I'm Luis. I'm your host for today, the hostess with the mostest. And I am excited about today's guest. Can't wait to introduce you guys. But just want a quick reminder, this is MIG Studios and Serafina Productions. We are so excited to be here for another week of ChingonSA. This week, we are welcoming a Chingona, a force of San Antonio. I'm going to read her bio, so if you're watching on YouTube, don't hate me. For the past 6 years, Samantha Najera from Bean and Chisme has been the driving force behind the Bean and Chisme brand, taking social media platforms into hundreds of thousands of followers. Sam promotes living the Chingona lifestyle, one of my favorite lifestyles to live. Not Chingona, but Chingon, yeah. Life to the fullest, and normalizes breaking barriers to just not have a seat at the table, but build the table ourselves, which ultimately we all want to do, right? Like we in our culture, it's easy to put people down, I think, and breaking that cycle of building people up is something that I think we're all striving for. So I appreciate what you're doing there. Her dream is to be an award-winning director, actress, producer, and writer with a state-of-the-art studio for others to use and create in her hometown right here in San Antonio. Samantha, welcome to the show.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for being here. I've been excited about this conversation, how it started. You and I have known each other for a really long time.
Yes.
I won't say how because I won't say how long because it'll date the both of us.
Okay, fine.
But before kids, that's what we'll say.
Way back when. Let's just say that.
Way back when. We know each other a super long time. But one thing that I've just been a fan of, like watching from a distance, is your growth in not only your media company, Heartfire Media, but also Bean and Chisme, and kind of what you're doing to be a stand-up comedian. Like, girl, what? What, like that?
Who am I?
Who are you?
What's happening? That's so funny.
I remember the Samantha Najera that I remember was this meek little, girl with spunk. You definitely had spunk, but I mean, now you're on stage, dude, at the LOL Comedy Club in San Antonio, hosting comedy shows. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Congratulations on your success.
Thank you. It's been a whirlwind. It's been a roller coaster. It's been all the things that I never thought would happen. But I think subconsciously I knew would happen.
Sure. Yeah.
But I remember you were one of my first clients at Heartfire. Do you remember that I did your website?
Yeah. Website.
What? This is crazy. This was back when I had to sell businesses on getting websites.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, there's this thing. And you're gonna look. Oh, and there's this thing called YouTube. And right. I've been in the game that long, telling people about YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I remember having many meetings because I'm a control freak and I have to know every single detail. Also for me back then, it was a lot of money, right? But it was an investment long term. And the funny thing is I had an initial brand because you did a whole rebrand for me.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you did a whole rebrand for me.
Oh my gosh.
And we pushed out a new logo, a new website, intro video. You remember me walking downtown?
Oh my gosh.
Wow. You did all that for me. We did new headshots, which I thought were so cool at the time. You did all of that for me with Heartfire Media Productions, and that logo stayed with me until I merged a couple years ago with my insurance group. So
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Gosh, man, you just gave me flashbacks. We forget how much we've done and where we've started.
You were officed out of Geekdom at the time. You remember that?
Yes. Oh my
gosh.
I have the craziest story about that too.
Let's hear it.
Are y'all ready for this? Okay, so I don't know if you don't know what Geekdom is. It is a startup hub, what
do they call it? An incubator,
right? An incubator
for
small businesses. And back 10, 15 years ago, startup businesses and tech companies were the hottest thing. It was cool to be an entrepreneur and own a company. And so I naturally started running a business, not because I wanted to, but because I had a skill set that was in high demand that I also knew I could make money off of without being controlled by a boss.
Yeah.
I was like, you might as well just jump into this. And Geekdom, I had some friends that were there. One of them, Eddie Romero.
Yeah. That's how we got introduced. That's how we met. It was
we
Eddie
met through
Romero.
Eddie?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Eddie was like, there's a space in my office and it's like $50 a month. You have to apply, but I'm never there. You should just apply and get in here. I get in, I'm there a year, but I noticed again, all male dominated. And in Heartfire Media, we did graphic design, website development. Like we used all the contractors that were in geekdom. We partnered with everybody, and that was their goal.
Yeah.
And I got a letter saying like, hey, you're no longer pretty much like a part of the geekdom, whatever community because we need to get other people in here. And I was like, but why? Like I give everybody business. I'm a part of this community, and they just didn't have a good enough reason. But I was pregnant with Ava.
Wow.
And I had a feeling like I just don't fit into this system of whatever they think it, good old boy system, whatever it is, this tech world system. And I was like 8 months pregnant. I had to move all my stuff out of the Weston Center downtown.
Oh my gosh.
And go find another office. And as a small business owner, all those things are a big deal because everything is like, oh. And I was just there at the Weston Center recently. They have a private club at the top now called the Center Club. And I got a membership there.
Nice.
And I was like, I remember when y'all didn't let me stay here. Like, and it was so nice to be there. Like, well, I'm choosing to be here, but I remember that. I remember I wasn't allowed in places like this. So I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
You know, so it's that pretty woman moment where it's like, big mistake. Big, huge.
That's awesome. Man, that's such a crazy story. Anybody out there listening, I want to know more details about it.
Yes, please. I want to go find that email because I know I saved it.
Yeah. Well, it's also fuel, right? Like I think something like that for you and I, and for a lot of entrepreneurs, that can be fuel to fuel that fire and that desire to be your own boss and not have to worry about what other people think or say or do, and that your income doesn't have to rely on them, right?
True. Yeah, no, fuel is everything. So the more doors or the more no's that I get, even personally, like tell me no personally, and I'm like, I'm going to show you. I'm cabrona like that. Like, oh,
you know, that reminds me kind of like my sister. My sister, during COVID, went back to college while having 2 kids at home and got her bachelor's degree, finished her bachelor's degree.
What?
During COVID, yeah. So I have chingonas that are in my life everywhere, and I was one of those doubters. Like I'm first to admit it. I'm not proud of it, but I was one of the first people to say like, "What do you think you're doing?"
To your sister?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. What do you think you're doing? You know, I just didn't think it was the right time, the right situation. I mean, just
like possible for her, like to do this. Wow.
Yeah. And she went and she gave me the big finger and said, you know, F you, dude.
Oh, I love a good comeback story. Yeah. Like, let me prove to you.
Yeah. So I'm curious. I don't think we've ever talked about this, but like, what was your reasoning for wanting to go out on your own? I mean, you kind of briefly touched on it, but but like, why go out on your own? Why not? You know, you were an intern at KSAT locally. You went on to Atlanta. You did an internship at what was it? CNN.
Yeah, Turner Studios.
Turner Studios.
All those, yeah.
Yeah. Like, why go and do your own production company and then eventually being in Chisme?
Because I couldn't get a job. So I became a news reporter in about 2008, and I came from KSAT, and that was the return of the recession. And the layoffs started happening. I got laid off from the news reporter gig. I was at an ABC station in College Station, and it sucked. Like, totally. Like, news is low pay, high demand, everybody's mean, it's cutthroat, nobody's nice, and you're working long hours and all the holidays. Yeah. And so this was like the shift of the technology as well. So there was no cameraman and an editor helping me. I am the cameraman, the editor, the shooter, the writer, everything. Yeah. And the reporter. So I was like, this sucks. And I got laid off, luckily, with severance. And I was like, you know what? This is a sign from God. Like, go back home, try to figure some stuff out. And I could not find a job. Wow. Well, I find a doctor who has a TV show. His name is Dr. Carrasco. And he needed help producing his TV show, which I think is still on the air, right? I don't even know. But it was legit. Like, the production was sharp. Everything was great. I was like, ooh, he's invested in his own studio at his own property. And I learned a lot there, but it was still like I didn't like working for him. The slave driver vibe, I was like, nah.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew, like, you're not going to be able to find a job right now. You're just going to have to figure it out on your own. Yeah. And I started a video production company with 3 other partners called Media Bar. Did I know you when it was Media Bar? Okay.
Yep. We did a couple. We didn't work together then, but yeah, I remember your office was over off Wurzbach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Above the Starbucks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I learned a lot from that partnership, and it was my first business divorce. That's what I tell people. Yeah. Because getting a business divorce feels like a real divorce. Like you're just so heartbroken because your expectations were good, and you set out to like for these goals and dreams together. Yeah. You end up finding out you can't work together. Yeah. And we even had like a business consultant come in. Oh my gosh, I remember all this. And they were like, they just don't trust you. Bottom line is they don't trust you. And I'm like, why? I'm the only one bringing in business. I am breaking my back, going to every mixer, everything, handing out my cards. And I was the only one doing sales. They were just doing the production work. And production guys don't do sales. Yeah. So there was just a lot of heartache there. And I had another mentor tell me, you can do this on your own. Nobody's going to remember that. They're going to remember you and how you treated people, the experience with you. And I just prayed about it, and God opened a door because, like, not even a month later, I started Heartfire Media. I thought about a logo, all these things, and Gordon Hartman from Morgan's Wonderland called and said, hey, you were the girl that produced our Scorpions commercial. And I was like, yeah. He's like, I need you because I want this and that, and I need this. He's like, but it was you, right? Like, you wrote it, and you're the one that directed. And I was like, yeah. So then took off like that. And back then, like, everything was very video heavy, but now we're heavy social media strategy because content creation wasn't a thing back then. Reels, TikTok, none of that was a thing. And so now we're heavy social media. But yeah, that's kind of how I got it on my own.
That's interesting. You know, you're talking about like the evolution, if you will, of brand awareness. I don't know, multimedia, kind of thing. But like, and we've had to do that as a business as well. And I think a lot of business owners, I think that can be a pitfall for a lot of business owners, right? Is that because they're so busy working in the business, trying to bring in sales or trying to get their name out or whatever, they want to do it all and don't hire people to do those kinds of things for them. Right. And, you know, for instance, like one of the things that we do here is we have somebody on staff, and we're very fortunate. I get that not every business can do this, but we have somebody on staff that is dedicated to producing our content, you know, putting together those reels, scheduling our reels, making sure that I'm in this chair doing this reel at this time because I'm trying to run a business. Right. So like, what kind of advice do you have for small businesses like that who don't necessarily have those kinds of resources? Where do they start? What do they like? What's something that you can, you know, kind of help with guidance in that regard?
Yeah, no, this is great. I think the number one mistake that business owners, small, medium, or large, do is they don't budget for marketing, period. Yeah. They don't even like remember that that's a thing. They're just, like you said, they're caught up in operations and sales and all this other stuff. And when I meet with clients to consult with them, I'm like, so what's your marketing budget look like? They're like, well, I'm like, so how did you expect to like post things? And how are you going to tell people about you? And what about an email blast? Do you even have a social, like, what? Yeah. And so they're like, oh, well, I didn't think about it. I'm like, when you go to a bank or you go to a loan, a small business, a grant, the first thing they say is, what is your business plan and how are you going to market this business? Right. And when you go for the loan, they make you spell that out.
Okay. I get that. And I'm on board with that. But isn't that what they're bringing you in for? To kind of help with that, to kind of help plan that kind of thing?
Yes. So then I'll go in and be like, okay, you know, you need to.
But they need to be realistic about what they're going to end up spending on it, right?
Yeah. So they don't understand how much they need to actually save for it. Right. They can try to do it themselves, but at this point, social media management and content creation is a very specific skill set that is in high demand.
For sure.
High critical thinking, creativity, and you're not gonna be able to do it. You're not gonna get the homegirl at the front desk to do it. It's not gonna happen anymore because that's what all the businesses started doing. You can, but so you have to really commit to really be, committed to investing in the marketing and putting together a budget. I say at least 15% of your annual spending budget. Don't go freaking buying those koozies, bro. Don't do it. Don't invest in a part-time, an intern.
My tia needs a koozie.
No, or t-shirt. No, nobody does that anymore. Stop it. Or interns, get an intern, but you have to treat these interns good. Interns are a whole nother ballgame now.
Yeah.
These kids come out of college I need to get paid, and you're like, what? But I get it. Again, they have a high skill set, and they're not going to settle. So. Yeah. You better be getting them a lot of Starbucks or something to start small with an intern or a part-timer. Yeah. Maximize the part-timer.
Is there something that you would be, if you had to do this all over again, and not necessarily what you're doing now, obviously, but if you were starting a business from the ground up, what is one or two things that you would do to kind of get your business off the ground?
Man, gosh, so many things.
Sure.
I made so many mistakes. I did too much for free. I did years of things that lost me money.
Yeah.
When if I would have known what I know now, I maybe would have done that for 2 years max.
Yeah.
Girl, you don't need to prove anything else. Here's a portfolio, here's your website, here's your Google reviews. Don't settle. And I would still want to help people. And so if you have a big heart, don't go into business. You know what I mean? I was that girl that I wouldn't say no. Yeah. I'd say yes to everything. Yeah. I would spend months on small graphic design project that probably cost me tons of money when I should have just said, you can't afford it. That's probably a job for somebody else. Pass. And I just was so desperate. I had a lack mindset that I didn't understand. I could have done less and made more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's super valuable right there. Thanks for sharing that. I'm curious, what right now in present day, what is one of your biggest challenges that you're facing in your business, and how are you navigating that challenge?
Easy. So I own 2 companies. I own Heartfire Media LLC and I own Bean and Chisme LLC. Don't ever start 2 companies at one time. I mean, of course, this is God's plan. Maybe it's going to work out, right? The way it was supposed to. But handling 2 running businesses at once, you're spread too thin and one's going to fail. Yeah. One's not going to do good at this. They can't both do good at the same time unless you build it up to that. But it is possible. I'm just saying I'm not in that place right now. Yeah. And so what I did the past 2 years was I put Heartfire to the side. And I only take on clients who can pay me a high retainer, and I can focus on 2 or 3 a year. I don't operate like an ad agency anymore. I am a consultant, and we will provide you social media management and video production and stuff, and some PR. I get hired for doing media coverage for some clients. Other than that, all my blood, sweat, and tears money has gone into Bean and Chisme. Yeah. And it's struggle because there's some times and moments with Bean and Chisme it does really well with sponsorship revenue that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna quit my job, and now I can, and turn around and a contract's gone or expenses went up, things happen, and I'm like, there I go. I have to go back to my quote unquote real job at Heartfire. So I'm constantly balancing the 2.
And not only that, you're a single mama.
Let's not forget that part.
Which one? The single or the mama part?
I am still single. I am still single, and I am a mom too. So Ava's 11. Yeah. And I've navigated how to raise her at the same time and being an entertainer and a performer. And that's another thing is too, people will come at you and say, oh my God, you're so funny. You should do this and you should do that. I'm like, I should, but I have a mortgage and an obligation to this child. Yeah. And yes, my heart and my spirit, I would have been in LA a long time ago. I tell people that. But I made a choice to raise her here. Yeah. And that's more valuable to me than anything. And so when I get invited to do stand-up, I have to now question whether or not it's worth it. Hey, come to LOL and you could be at Upstage. And I'm like, well, how much am I going to get? And what do the ticket sales look like? And they're like, ugh. And I'm like, no. Because if I leave my child a night again on a Thursday night for a bar tab, it's not worth it. Yeah. I don't love it enough. Yeah. If I was in my 20s, maybe in college, where you're on that grind, where you're just so hungry for it. Sure. And you're like, I'll do whatever it takes. I'll take every gig to get my name out there. And I'm like, no, I have to make really hard decisions. And I just ask God to bless me in other ways. Maybe he'll open another door where I don't have to do stand up for $50 per day. It's hard. You see how hard it is? Like, and now with everything going up, like I am responsible for every bill in my household and Ava's. So there's no room for like, oh, let's just go mess around. And have fun, Yeah,
you got to be intentional about your time. Your time commitments.
Yeah.
That's always been a challenge of mine, right? Like I have a 7-year-old, he's about to be 8. And spending time with him is, for me, one of like being able to spend time with him and give him the things that I didn't have.
Yes.
Growing up, right? Like my father wasn't around. So breaking those generational curses and things like that, that's super important for me. And fortunately for me, my business has allowed me to do that. So I can, as a business owner, I can delegate, I can delete, or I can do. Those are the 3 choices that I make every single day. Delegate, delete or do.
I love that. I love this. Now I'm learning shit.
Well, good. Maybe everybody will take a little way.
That's the point,
nuggets,
right?
Yeah. But like you were talking about, you intentionally have to make choices because when you say yes to something, you also say no to something else, right?
Word.
And so delegate, delegate, delete, or do. And every day I get up with that mentality. What am I going to delegate today? What am I going to do? What am I going to delete? And I do that with a focus on my kid. In a couple weeks, when this, a couple weeks ago, I got to take my son to opening day weekend at baseball, in Boston.
Oh,
and
that is so awesome.
That is something that as soon as I found out I was having a boy,
you knew
that was like something that I wanted to work towards and look forward to. And I want to make it an annual thing, like every opening day weekend. Yeah,
yes.
I want to take him to Boston for opening day weekend and just enjoy the two of us getting to spend time together. So like for me, like those are kinds of things that kind of help me keep focus, and be able to make those intentional choices of do, delete, or delegate.
Damn, so good. Yeah. That's literally what I do every day, but it's not as clear as that. But I'm like, okay, every day I have to make decisions that work around what works best for her and I,
Exactly.
And making the most of each day. So this is awesome.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad I could kind of help you simplify that.
Yes. And what was I going to say about Heartfire and meeting Chisme? So another quick note about being in Chisme, when we started it, we had a title sponsor at $50,000. And I cried that day and I told Nina, I said, girl, we just made history because we had only been in business like 1.5 years, maybe 2 years. I was like, this is unheard of. It was with Traders Village.
Yeah.
And we did a presentation. They were like, boom. But then, and we had multiple. We had Taco Cabana, Pizza Patron. I mean, we were rolling. And that was the moment where I was like, all right, I'll be able to like put Heartfire to the side. Mm-hmm. Well, COVID happened and everybody pulled out. Everybody pulled out. And we have not been able to recover since then. Not like then, where it was like 50K, 25K, 10K. Now it's like 1,500, 2,500. It's like, in this San Antonio market too, it's extremely difficult to do this kind of advertising. They're still kind of old school in the way that they think of how to advertise. So creative marketing is just very hard to pitch to businesses. But we're still here. I'm still here by myself now. I don't have Nina. Yeah. She stepped out last year. So.
She was the bean to your Chisme.
Yes, she was the frijolita.
Frijolita. I still love watching your videos. I remember being a part of, I can't remember what season it was, but
you sponsored something before, right?
Yeah, I did something when I was still Leal Insurance Services. Did something with you guys, and that was a lot of fun coming onto the show. I think you guys were filming the show at a comedy club in Southtown, right?
Yep.
What was the
Jokesters.
name? Jokesters. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then what else did we do? We did something else. You were doing. I remember you partnered with Xavier the freaking Rican, and you did Halloween stories.
Dude.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was La Llorona.
Yes.
La Llorona, the lechuza.
I think mine was La Llorona.
Okay. Yeah, I did these short films of Hispanic cultural storytelling for Halloween. Those were badass.
They were.
That director.
I still share them every every Halloween. I still share that video because number one, I was super proud to be a part of that production, but also it was so cool and so fun, and the way that it was, the way that the story was told, and like the acting was really good.
Yes.
And, that was a lot of fun.
So I'm glad you brought that up because that is exactly the goal for Being Chisme till this day. Yeah. We want to be able to develop and produce culturally relevant content for Hispanics.
Yeah.
So whether it's short films, whether it's TikToks, whatever, we want to talk about our culture and celebrate it, but also learn. So like last year, I took a deep dive into other hot topics like LGBTQ. And I made a skit that was sponsored by a program through University Health. And it was for sexual health for men. I was like, great. So I have a machismo dad in a Dallas Cowboys jersey and a cowboy hat. And he walks in on his son putting on makeup. And I tell this story. But I'm like, that's how we've evolved. That's how I've evolved as a writer. I'm like, okay, we're going to do stuff that's been done, but now we're going to do other, and we're going to push. We're going to push the boundaries. Yeah. And then, like I said, the goal for Being Chisme is to really be like a media entertainment hub for Hispanics, but we have bigger messages now because I'm very passionate about mental health. Yeah. And the suicide rate is high amongst men and Hispanics, but we don't even believe in depression and anxiety. We don't even go to therapy.
We believe in lechuza and we believe in all that, but we don't.
But we won't believe in You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And I just feel like I have an obligation. Like God really put it on my heart and my mind. Like use this, whatever platform it is, to do something just life-changing for people. Yeah. So that way, you can do the pendejadas and like dance around your my little naga shaking or whatever. And that's funny. And I told people, if I would have talked about this years ago, we weren't listening. You weren't going to listen. Right. There was already other people talking about it. But when I started making fun and like doing comedy, then I got everybody's attention.
Yeah, for sure.
So
when you talk about these messages, these kind of ideas that you have, and different topics that are tough to talk about, that's an impact that you're having in our community, a direct impact that you're having in our community. How do you see Being Chisme like going forward, being that kind of like continuing to be a voice for those underserved, for those underprivileged? What kind of impact do you want for Being Chisme to have in the San Antonio community?
Yeah, so I wanted to have a major impact here in San Antonio, but really internationally, hit like globally, but like throughout the country, not just in Texas. Yeah. So I really want to be able to educate and empower our people. Yeah. So with that impact, it could be anything from getting people educated on voter rights. It could be some sort of education. Immigration. Right? Immigration. I mean, you're talking about moving the needle on all ends for our population. Nice. And so I have just recently partnered with Credit Human, which is a credit union here in San Antonio. Yeah. And
I saw that. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
I could not get into a bank for years. They just wouldn't. And cancel culture will shun you away from a Latino who says ass and shit and all this other stuff. But that's besides the point.
You can say that here, girl. You can say that here.
I knew I could. But long story short, I was like, look, I'm going to partner with you and thank you for the opportunity. However, you don't get to use our people to open loans and get mortgages and other stuff and banking with you just because you like put a piñata on your billboard. Right. You have to get to know us. We have to trust you. My abuelita still hides money in her mattress, like under the mattress. Like we don't believe in banking like normal people do. Right. We don't trust. And so this is going to be like a courtship of you want to be in the community, then I'm going to introduce you. So I get to serve as a conduit from corporate to the community, the Hispanic community, specifically the Raza community. Yeah. And I have that honor and that privilege to be that voice. Yeah. And it sucks because sometimes I'm stuck in between. They're like, hey, you're going too corporate. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to help you out. Right. I'm going to bring y'all resources. Right. But even like sexual health for women, we don't talk about it, hormones, things like that. Just saying like, hey, girl, did you know that this is available to you? Yeah. And making it normal to talk about because the TV stations aren't going to do that. Yeah. But I can because I have the internet. I don't have the FCC on my back. I get to use the internet. So I feel like the impact is going to be huge, and my vision is so big, and I also feel like I think that's why it's going to take me a little bit longer.
Yeah. So I'm curious, and not at all, I don't mean this in a negative way, so please don't take it that way, but like, how do you, because like I get the bigger, broader vision, but how do you get there without taking smaller steps? Because I think even as business owners, sometimes we are big thinkers, right? A lot of us are big thinkers.
I want it to be done tomorrow, please.
Right, but I mean that's not how it works in reality.
I know.
So how do we take steps to get there? How do we help you? How do we help other business owners like realize, okay, what's the first step that I got to take? Who do I need to call? How can I get this support? Where can I get this support? Right? Like what are some of those things that you find helpful?
Yeah. I think that we all need to start, I don't know, I need to better pitch the why.
Yeah.
So last year I rebranded Being Chisme for the why. And that's why the website has a lot more detailed info on my background.
Yeah.
I think the way Being Chisme started was heavy comedy and pendejadas.
Yeah.
And I think we got branded that way. I was like, oh, you're just comedians. But I have to do a better job of telling the story. And now I not only have a good story, but I have the testimonials from the businesses who have invested in Being Chisme and have gotten results.
Nice.
So perfect example is University Health has another program called SMASH, and it's for sexual health, and also New Start. New Start is a program that's funded for substance abuse. So they're like, look, we have to hit Hispanics in Bexar County, and we have to teach them that there's these offices and clinics with free services for HIV prevention, for drug abuse, all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to take the money. I'm going to do some really fun, creative content with it. And then I'm going to generate leads through my platforms and using the advertising platforms like Facebook and Meta.
Sure.
And I'm going to get you all these leads and I'm going to give them to you. And then you tell me how the campaign worked out. And then we've done that twice, 2 years in a row.
Nice.
And now I have a testimony. They want an award for the campaign we did together.
That's
using
awesome.
Social media marketing.
Yeah.
This is all new to the world.
Yeah.
In San Antonio, honestly, we're like 5 to 10 years behind. In LA and Miami, they do these things all the time. They invest millions in social media ad campaigns. In San Antonio, Bexar County, we have to do a better job of understanding how to utilize social media creatively and how it actually returns your money, the exposure, the branding. And so,
speaking my love language right now.
I know. And it is more than just like, well, I don't have $50,000 to put on TV and radio. I'm like, no, I'm not telling you that. But we have to just be a little bit smarter and look at things differently.
Right.
And more importantly, be consistent with content.
Man, consistency equals.
Dude, I tested a theory last year. I had a consultant. I'm not going to tell you who it was because I don't blast him out like that. He was good. Who was creating content for another comedian. And he saw what I was doing. He was like, I need you to, it just kills me that you're not doing like 8 pieces of content a week. I was like, what? That's too much, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that's too much. He was like, no, your algorithm needs to be fed. I was like, I'm going to listen to you and do things your way. I nearly killed myself, but it did boost the algorithms, but on all the platforms. I mean, we were making stuff like crazy. And I personally decided like, that's not for me.
Yeah.
But we have a happy medium now. So we still have to daily like crank stuff out.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that answered your question, but I do need help in getting advertisers, businesses to understand, just like you invested in the Llorona video, like how cool that was and how beneficial it was to your business.
Yeah. And I mean, to be quite honest with you, like, I cannot tangibly say this was the result. I got this result from this investment, right?
Right.
But what it did do for us was, first of all, it's evergreen content. Like, that lives on the internet forever.
Yeah, forever.
And I don't know how many thousands of views it has now, but we can keep coming back to that and keep, using that content, every season, every Halloween season.
Yeah.
And it's brand awareness, right? Like it continues to get the name out there, that kind of thing. So, I mean, absolutely. I think there's value in that. And I think, a lot of younger, new businesses, will start to see that. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of those like legacy, bigger businesses don't get the benefit of that because maybe the ship takes a little longer to turn in those, kind of environments or whatever. Whereas smaller businesses are more nimble and they're quick to make decisions and they can make those decisions, that kind of thing. So who knows? There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. PETA, don't come after me. I didn't mean that.
But you know what? I was going to mention, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
I think people need to believe in the vision.
Yeah.
You need to believe in the vision of being a Chisme, because I keep getting asked, why don't you do this and why don't you do that? And I'm like, I want to do all the things, but that costs time and money. Yeah. And if you really want this to grow, just like you believe in the Spurs, just like you believe in, Selena, I don't know, like whatever those things are, people will pay money just because they believe in it.
We're gonna have to bleep that name out because I don't want to get trademarked.
Right? Like people in San Antonio believe, like once they believe in something, they are loyal to the death if 100%. They believe in it. Yeah. And there is a comedian, his name is Frankie Quiñones.
Yeah, I love Frankie.
Okay, so what is it? A creeper, little creeper, Cholo Fit is he is a cholo who does yoga and he's hilarious. But somebody believed in him and gave him a whole ass 2 seasons on Hulu. Yeah. Okay. And I was doing that great. A long time ago.
I love that
as
show.
A chola. And I was telling everybody, we can make her like this little cholita. She can go on adventures and she could do this. And they just couldn't get it past their head. They were more upset at me that I was acting like a hood rat than they could see the bigger vision of what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think once people understand my vision really is to better the Hispanic community overall and just educate us, support us, put us in the limelight for the beautiful people we are, then I think I'll have more buy-in then.
I love that.
Because I can show you the return. Luis, when I tell you the amount of presentations I do with numbers and return, I've already done it.
You're a pro.
I mean, but then, the advertisers will go to a radio station or, no offense, but like some dude's podcast and just, here's 10K just because I like that you talk about beer and tits and ass. And I'm like, okay, so like I have to do triple the amount of proving everywhere I go. Like, I promise you it works. I'm like, oh yeah, one day people are gonna be knocking on my door like, can I give you my money? I'm gonna be I don't know, put another 0.
Put another 0. So last question before we wrap up. This has been an awesome conversation, by the way.
Yay.
When you think of legacy and what that means to you, your family, your business, what does that look like? What do you envision your legacy?
Ooh, gosh, these are so good. These are good questions. So that's not a short answer, but the legacy I want to live is a woman of integrity who really cared about her community, her family, and was a chingona. Like I was standing in the drift of these waves just coming at me, and I still stood up no matter how many doors were slammed in my face. And I've always set out to be that girl that was like, I'm going to prove to others that you can achieve your dreams. So if anything ever happens to me, God forbid, be like, damn, that chick really she stopped at nothing. She was relentless at going after what she wanted, and she changed her family history.
Yeah.
Because I'm breaking a lot of curses, with domestic violence, financial curses, just the way our family interacts and communicates relationships, like, we're breaking curse after curse, and being that person in your family, because you're that person and you're chingon in your family, is hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard. So I want to be remembered for all of those things. And just to tell girls, especially women, girl, I could have a lot nicer house right now and a lot nicer car, a private jet or whatever if I went the short route.
Yeah.
But I chose to go the long route because I get to wake up and be proud of who I am in the morning.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
Did that answer?
It did. That was probably the best answer we've got so far.
Microphone. Boom.
Yeah. Okay. Mic drop. Please don't drop the microphone. It's
not
really
this
expensive. No, thank you so much for coming on the show, Sam. Let's before we end the show though, how do people connect with you?
Oh my gosh, yes.
You're in the middle of season 5 of Bean and Chisme. Where do people find the show?
Okay.
How do people connect with you? All the deets.
Yes, so you can go to my link tree and we'll put it in the comments. But you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Find Bean and Chisme anywhere. Just Google it. Our website is beanandchisme.net, and there's contact forms, advertising pages. So we are set for success. You can find me under Samantha Najera on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I'm under the Sam Najera. and just send me a DM. And of course, follow on all the platforms. Subscribe. That's the easiest way to support. If you can't do it financially, obviously, just subscribe.
We'll post all those links in the show notes so people can find you guys. Don't be cochinos in the DMs, okay?
Too late. Every day. Every day, there's always somebody.
That's embarrassing. I'm so sorry for all the men.
You know, you can't blame them for trying.
Yeah. True that. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show,
Thank
Sam.
you for
really
having
appreciate
me.
it.
I always appreciate your friendship and your support. And you've been an OG from day one.
That's right. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of ChingonSA. This has been MIG Studios and Serafina Production. Thanks again to the wonderful Sam Najera for joining the show today. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow. We'll see you guys next week.